Thank you, Nicole, and thank you everybody for coming. I think there are a lot of New York Artist Circle people here, but we do want to explain what the New York Artist Circle is and what Art at First is, and how these two groups sort of blend together. So I'm going to turn it over to Fran, who's going to talk about the New York Artist Circle. Fran. Unmute yourself.
It'd be good if I unmuted myself. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, so welcome to all the New York Artist Circle members who are here. We're excited to see those who are in the show and those who are coming to see the show for the first time. We're looking forward to presenting it. So the New York Artist Circle is a very energetic, dedicated community of professional artists. We have been meeting monthly since 1993. And in our meetings, we share career opportunities, practical and technical information. We generally support each other's art practice and art business. The atmosphere of respect and creative cooperation that we foster is really one of our strong points, and the artistic diversity of our group is quite well represented in this exhibition, Save the Earth. Many of our members are actively involved in issues of climate change and ecology, some in their lives, some in their work, and many in both. And I think we're all concerned about it. So this is a very timely theme and topic, but I do want to add something else that we're very excited about at the moment, which is that the New York Artist Circle is about to launch a beautifully designed new online resource for curators, collectors, art professionals, and just for art lovers in general. So NewYorkArtistCircle.com is a state-of-the-art website, but it's more than that. It's really a tool for making art viewing easier, and the site features works of over 150 artists, so it's really exciting. And in fact, one of our features on the new site is curated shows, and this show, Save the Earth, will be showing on that platform at some point on down the line. We are having an official launch, by the way, on Friday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. and everyone is invited. There'll be a little information at the end of the slideshow, but you can also contact Barbara Sherman for more information. So I was really thrilled to have the opportunity to work with Barbara on this show, and she's going to talk a little bit more now about her involvement with the New York Artist Circle and how all this came about.
Yeah, it works better when I unmute. I started going to the New York Artist Circle, I think it was about in 2005. I think Gwyneth Leech brought her baby there, baby Grace, and Grace is now a 15-year-old, so that's how long I've been there. And I really, when Christo and Jean-Claude announced the gates, I really wanted to be part of that. And I just, as Barbara Ellman has said, sometimes she, when she wanted to figure out how to get into the Whitney Biennial, she was told, if you have to ask, you're not getting in. And that was my feeling. But then I saw on the New York Artist Circle listserv how to get in, how to be a Gates monitor. And I signed up online, and
you might just, sorry to interrupt, but you might want to mention that the Gates was an amazing installation in Central Park right here in our own city for people who might not
remember. It was awesome. It was, for people who don't know about it, I'm sorry for assuming everybody does, is Central Park. Christo and Jean-Claude, who had wrapped the Reichstag in Germany, who had done all sorts of amazing things, and they had wanted for 20 years to do something in New York, and they always got turned down, but they enjoyed the fight. Michael Bloomberg heard their proposal and said, okay, let's do it. And they were a little disappointed that they didn't get to fight. But anyway, I got to do it. I signed up, I showed up, they gave me lunch and breakfast every day, and I was a gates monitor, and it was life-changing for me. It was just so, the spirit of cooperation and the creativity and the joy that it brought and the money that it brought for February, hot dog vendors in Central Park don't make anything, but they were really raking in the money. It was wonderful for everybody. And the week was over and I went back to my life and my church and said, this is, if they can do that, I should be able to maybe get the church to hang some artwork. And I went to the minister, John Walton, and said, suppose we hang some artwork. Suppose we have some art shows. And he started lecturing me. He said a church in Greenwich Village should serve the artistic community. And I said, well, I think you and Michael Bloomberg, it's a go. It's a go. So we started just having shows in our great hall. We had a show in conjunction with our Blessing of the Animals. It was called Dog, Dog, Cat. It was a wonderful show. It's amazing. Artists really like to paint their animals. So here we are. At the moment, we can't hang anything up in the hall as much as we would like to, but it's interesting how the pandemic and the quarantine has inspired our creativity. We're trying to figure out new ways to show our work and to share it and to work together. So I think we have nothing more to say at the moment than let's look at the show. Have I covered it all, Fran?
I think you covered it all.
I think we covered it. Okay, let's on with the show.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I shared the wrong screen. Let me get back to where I have to be. Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we're ready to view Save the Earth. Artists respond to climate.
Here's the Earth, and here's our statement of our show. I think this is Karen named this Show of Hands.
What I love.
Collage. This is a collage, right, Fran?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is a photograph that's been worked on in ink and another collage. But what I love is how different artists approach the theme of Save the Earth in such different ways. So a lot of
artists look really closely at that one. They're little tiny animals under the tree.
Here we have a series of different glacier, different interpretations of glaciers. And we know that glaciers are endangered right now. And so everyone's trying to bring awareness to them. In addition, marshlands. Here we have an example of a view of marshlands. So some artists approach the topic in a more abstract way.
Paulina, these are plastic bags that Paulina collects, and another weavings and recycling.
Yeah, so a lot of people are using cast off or recycled materials. These are actually made of foam, but made to look like metal.
Metal, rusty metal. And Alyssa, when we see Alyssa's, there's a story about that chrysalis, and here's.
Some of the pieces are so interpretive and evocative.
Yeah.
Some are a little more apocalyptic, and others are a little more joyous. So we celebrate the earth, and we're worried about the earth. A lot of artists, when they hear earth, think about animals.
Fran, some people are saying it's too fast. I
Ah,
think we maybe ought to run it again.
I
When
would be very happy to pause and go back, and we'll put it on a
we could do that, and we
time.
could keep it running while we're talking with Elise and Alice.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go right back up to here. And we'll make sure it's every
Give
10.
it 10 seconds.
Yeah. All right. So take 2 of.
Okay, we may run out of talking time, but I think people probably prefer to look than to listen to us talk.
It's true. It's true. This is a beautiful installation. So some artists really responded with a call to action, and this is certainly
Yeah.
a call to action.
Is this 10 seconds?
Yeah. Yeah, and this piece, this artist doesn't always.
These are very big.
Mm-hmm. And she doesn't always do figurative work, but the figures came out. And this was very much about.
On the left is COVID something, and on the right is Take a Knee, is the title.
Right.
Thank you, Teresa. She said that's better.
Good.
Here's Elaine. This is Elaine Forrest fire.
Right. So some of the visions are very direct in their concern, while others are a little more subtle, like these beautiful images by Audrey Anastasi. And you see the figures. You can think about our interaction with nature. Sometimes it's a little more.
Yeah, this looks like newspaper or printed matter in the collage. Beautiful.
So Lori Horowitz, we were saying before that she takes these amazing photos of these tree root formation, the knees of the tree, and she then draws on top of them, and he brings these figures right out of the wooden texture. Marianne Barcelona, she does collage, and these are collages, and I'm so sorry that we can't have the actual real piece, because with a collage it's so much easier to see everything that's going on and the different layers when you can get close to it.
Yeah, she had a beautiful show at First Gallery. Oh, I'm glad we have more time, because if you look really closely at Pamela's painting, you see little moles and I think worms. Well, everybody who lives under that tree.
Right. There's a whole world under there. And then we move on to a number of artists who are responding to glaciers, as I mentioned before. So Ellen Alt has been doing a whole series for years now, and they are textural. They're really layered with some kind of 3D materials that she adheres to the surface. So they look shiny and glistening, and they really are. Eleanor Goldstein, also beautiful.
Another
glacier in the nighttime seems to really evoke, right?
Yeah.
And here the very texture of.
Yeah, I don't know what her medium was. Do you know, Fran?
I don't.
Yeah.
Don't. It'll be great, you know. That's one of the things, if we could have an actual show with all the artists on hand, we could all talk about
but it. We will be putting out blogs with each artist in one blog post, you know, per day, with a statement by the artist and the artist information. Oh, here's Fran Beeler.
also glaciers, images, portraits of glaciers. Yeah, so we'll have a statement for each artist and their work and the medium that they used. So you'll be able to see all that. That'll be great.
I
Gwyneth
think
here.
this is the marshes in New Jersey, is it?
Yes, exactly. Seen from an aerial perspective.
Mhm.
And the colors are just
Yeah,
fascinating. What I love about aerial views is how they look so abstract, but they're really quite real.
right.
That.
Right. Lois.
This is a very interpretive view of the water.
Water.
So Lois is very involved in ponds and water, and of course water is a major issue going forward for our planet. And as you
And
mentioned
here's
before,
Pauline with
Pauline,
her, there's such beautiful craftsmanship with plastic bags.
yeah, so you can see a detail on the right,
Yeah.
which I was really happy she gave that, because on the left you see the whole image and the way it hangs on the wall, but on the right you really see her fine stitching and how she uses those plastic bags. And Cecilia also is weaving, very similar kind of
Using recycled material.
Totally. And she gets these beautiful colors which evoke all kinds of natural phenomena like flowers and rainbows. Allie Berman. So
Yeah.
Allie titled this, I think, 7 Days, right? And it really evokes the beginning of all things. Karen Batten. I was very interested to see how some abstract artists took on this kind of theme. But you can see even there's a little detail of a beautiful sunset right there on the left.
Yeah.
Charles Seplowin, I believe he told us that he has these, he does laser cutting from foam, and then he paints and patinas these. So they look like they're heavy metal.
It looks like it must weigh a ton. I would have said, no, we can't have that. You can't hang that on the wall, but it's made of foam.
And they're very lightweight.
Yeah. And Elisa has a story about discovering this is a monarch caterpillar. And then she went to found a milkweed. She bought some milkweed from a store to make sure that her caterpillar would be nourished, and so he could become a butterfly.
And in the second image, you can see the chrysalis.
Right.
So Eileen
And
Hoffman.
Eileen.
The title of this piece is Demonstrators' Bags, and this came also out of the time of the Black Lives Matter movement and women's rights and all kinds of demonstrators who Eileen was thinking about the fact that you had to use a see-through bag to show what was in it. Otherwise, you couldn't carry a bag. I think that was the story, but she uses many layers of patterns and words and sort of mysterious kinds of objects. And I just love the red.
This is a knockout, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. The red and the gold. Yeah. I'm not sure if I should wish the earth looks like this for real, but it is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. Amy Regalia's buffalo.
Yeah, I know. It kind of leaves me speechless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is great.
And Alice Zinnes, who is inspired by classical works of.
Also, Alice works hard for in the anti-fracking movement.
Yeah.
She was president of the ecology club in high school
Wow.
and established curbside recycling in her neighborhood.
And she'll be talking
She'll
to
be
us
talking.
very shortly.
Yeah.
Pearl, Rosen, Golden. So I know in this series, Pearl was thinking about, she normally does very beautiful, lush landscapes, but she had been through some of the West Coast fires, and this is what the sky looked like, even recently, although she did this one a while ago, but it's kind of a scary vision, beautiful and scary.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the joyousness of these.
This on the right was inspired by a gift of red tulips, she said.
Excellent.
I mean, the one on the right.
Okay. It's interesting also how many artists, of course, do love animals and submitted works with animals, which I guess makes perfect sense. Saving the earth is about saving our many species, not just our own. This is from a wonderful series that Carolyn Oberst did a number of years ago, exploring environmental concerns. More beautiful birds there in the flowers.
Jenna Lash concentrates on international currency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so these are details. They're huge paintings, but they
Right.
are details of what you find on currency.
Yeah.
And Barbara Sherman.
Ooh, I did this in around 1999, and then just recently, I added the water and the piece of wood, the log for the pelican to stand on.
Oh, that
It was
looks
my
like.
tribute to Audubon,
Oh, okay.
because I stole that pelican from John James Audubon.
Uh-huh.
More animals.
Yeah, the Great Migration. So Regina Silvers has, over the course of her career, done a huge amount of landscape, and choosing which of her beautiful pieces.
It was hard to choose, but we chose silver birches. Maybe that's what they are. And this powerful, these waterfalls are really,
Yeah.
Ellen Pliskin.
And her beautiful vision of what we would like the world to continue looking like. These are two really strong images.
Kristen Reed. And when you walk into the church lobby, there's a very large Kristen Reed hanging on the wall.
Oh, that's
that she did for a show at the church, and we were lucky enough for her to say, yeah, you can hang it up there.
And with a similar underwater theme, Yona Verwer did these beautiful
Whales
collage like images.
And Barbara Slitkin.
Yes, this is a very idyllic kind of image.
Idyllic, yeah.
Laura Dugan. This is kind of I feel like this is just an interpretation of the ocean somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Rada. I think this is a new series that she's been working on in this COVID period. I love this little vision into another universe and those cutouts. Irene Christensen. Every time I see this, I feel like I have almost a handle on what it is. And then I think, no, it's not. It's just something that's beautiful.
and Teresa Valla. I think this is, the title is something about Earth, I think.
Hmm. I love those colors. Lucy Wilner, yeah. So
Gets a lot of text in there.
it's a lot of text. There is the impulse to want to read it all. We have a few images coming up with factories and more of the man-made part of the world.
And uses maps.
Maps and graphs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Norma Greenwood gives us a vision of a factory on a rainy day, maybe, but also this very interesting poetic vision of these rocks inside a space. It's just so evocative, and when you think of that in terms of Save the Earth. Yeah.
Very mysterious, even though the colors are so lively.
Right, right. And beautiful image to end on. I think this is our last image, Sandra's Aviva's world, or Aviva's landscape. And yes, so we are launching our new website soon. So please do join us for that. And you can get more information.
Save the date, save the date, Friday, October 23rd.
Yes.
And I'd like to say that project is such an example of the generosity and cooperation that's really the hallmark of this group.
Okay, so
there's Alice. Allie, are you here with us?
Yes, I am. And Barbara, you had said that there was an artist, and I'm trying to remember the name now, and you said they opened a recycling center or something in their hometown. That was actually me. So who else was that? I did one for 30 years in my neighborhood.
Okay, well, let me introduce you to Alice Zinnes, who also did that. And here's Elise Lobelson, who we've invited to speak. We chose them just to see if we could have a conversation. I don't know how much time we have left now because of taking our time with looking at the art, but I think it was time well spent.
We have a little time.
You have a little time. So I think Elise was going to go first and make a statement. Elise, can we hear you? We don't see you. Elise? Okay. Well, Alice, maybe you could give your statement. Talk about how your art feeds your activism and your response to the earth, to nature, and to the climate crisis.
Okay, well, thank you. I have to say first, I was so impressed by the collection of art. I didn't know who was in the show or what it would look like, and I am really honored to be in the show. It's some really fine artists. So thank you for putting it all together. So we were asked to write a statement. I don't really like reading things, but I was asked to write a statement. So I'm going to read this, and I hope I don't sound too monologue-ish. But anyway, so I start with my artist statement and go on a little bit more into just environmental issues. So my art itself, so dreams. For me, making art is dreaming, being open, allowing forms, space, and light to flow slowly through me, like the absorption of oil into cloth. Not illustrations or literal translations, art transforms ancient myths to mysterious worlds where boundaries between underworld and waking earth are traversable. Terror coexists with joy, and loss yields to renewal. My art pieces, inspired by the Ramayana, Ovid's Metamorphoses, and the ancient Roman novel, The Golden Ass by Apuleius, are quiet landscape narratives in the guise of abstract explorations. Emotional tensions are transformed into forms emerging from light and dark, suggestions of figures in space. Beginning with myths, I hope to create epic spaces where the world at its least understandable is made concrete. And since high school, I was president, when I was president of the Ecology Club, a club that was instrumental in initiating the curbside recycling. That's what Barbara mentioned. Caring about the environment has always been central to who I am. For about 10 years, beginning in 2008, I was at the center of the anti-fracking movement. I have to say, one of my proudest times in my life, and I think I can safely say it's partly because of me, you know about fracking. Balancing 3 full-time jobs, that of artist, teacher, and activist. With deep reflection, I realized all these activities represented different manifestations of my view that as humans, we must be connected to the world at large through being connected to our own inner and emotional and intellectual cores. I think it was a quote from Leonard Bernstein. This is from Leonard Bernstein. The point is, art never stopped a war and never got anybody a job. That was never its function. Art cannot change events, but it can change people. It can affect people so they are changed, because people are changed by art, enriched, ennobled, encouraged. They then act in a way that may affect the course of events by the way they vote, they behave, the way they think.
Great.
Wait, one little bit
Thank
more.
you, Alice.
Wait, I have something to say about, wait, this is my main point. I didn't get my main point.
Oh,
So though lyrical and semi-abstract, my art indirectly relates to my environmentalism. Commercialism has turned our humanity into a deadly pastiche of plastic emotions. We buy to camouflage our alienation, uncontrollably burning fossil fuels that threaten our very existence. By expressing our deepest emotions, my art reflects my core belief that to save life as we know it, we must return to our spiritual centers where we value our human beings and discover just how much our needs flow with the ecological life forces of the environment. I do just want to add that in the early anti-fracking movement, I would say the largest group of people who were really fighting for the environment were artists, and we would talk a lot about that.
great. Okay, we don't have a whole lot of time. So Alice, are you ready? Alice?
At least we can't
We
hear
can't hear you.
Aw.
What are we
She's
gonna
never
do?
there. Do you have her statement? I can just.
I
go
have
to-
Alice's statement because I thought Alice was gonna get caught in a storm and Alice is here.
Yeah, I'll say that just, as we're waiting for release, I'm actually about 2 hours from New York City on the Delaware River, Upper Delaware River, and that storm that's coming to New York was coming here, and about an hour or two ago, the wind was flying, the thunder and lightning were going, and I was so afraid that a tree would fall on the wires, I would be disconnected from the internet, and this is all climate change. It's all
Yeah,
these kind of storms.
yeah. Okay, well, Elise. I can see that Elise is working really hard at getting to speak here. Is there anybody else? Well, I think we.
I think she sent me not the full statement, but I think she
Do you
did
have a
send
copy? I'm
a
looking for something.
part of her
Yeah,
statement.
Oh,
if you could, if you
If
find
I can
it.
find that. I didn't really save it anywhere to speak of, but
I bet I have it.
probably do.
Yeah, I have it here.
Okay, great. Do you want to read that?
Oh, I have it also, yeah. Do you want me to read it?
Okay, you want to read it, Fran, or shall I?
I'll read it.
Okay, you read it, okay.
Okay, so this is about her 2 images that were selected, right?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
All right, I am on
Yay,
my phone.
we can't hear you really well.
Okay, can you see me and hear me?
We
Now
can
we
hear
can.
you.
Now we can hear
That's
you.
good. Yes,
Okay, I'm gonna just give it a try.
okay.
I wanted to thank you all for allowing me to be conversation. For most of the pandemic, I've been having the good fortune to live in upstate New York, and I've been amazed by nature and its dazzling beauty. It's been a comfort and a gift. It's our obligation as stewards of this great planet to respect and protect our land. We share the earth with all of nature, so we must find a way to sustain the earth moving forward for our children and for future generations. The two images that were selected in this show reflect the times that we are living in. As I was working in my studio, I could not help feel a certain kind of helplessness around the circumstances of these two simultaneous and overwhelming occurrences. They happen to be the coronavirus and Black Lives Matter. The first painting, called Take a Knee, almost created itself. I do not normally put figures in my work. The figures just appeared. The figures weave in and out of the patterns and colors. I believe that we are in a time of great change. At times they get worse before they get better. I'm glad the issue of Black Lives Matter has captured the nation's attention. Artists can be the voice of the times. We can record history through our own unique perspective. I hope this painting of all the people together, like a tapestry, can show that in our diversity, we are stronger, more interesting, and above all, that each human being is special and created equal. The
Here, here.
second painting is called COVID Landscape. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah,
And
keep going.
this painting is also a bit different from what I usually do. Normally my paintings are life affirming. They're filled with patterns in bold color. In this case, the work seeks to void. It is the emptiness of life. It is the lushness of nature, and it is empty because of all the life snuffed out by the virus and our hateful regime of this current administration. My hope is that we can use this time of social unrest to create a more equal and just. Hello, thank you.
Okay, okay. That was great. Here, here.
Thank you so, thank you so much, Elise and Barbara and Fran. One thing that I actually wanted to add, it's not in my statement, but I just kind of, since we don't have much time, I'm forcing my way in here, that I wanted to add for us, just everybody who's on the panel and everybody who's in the audience to think about, is the sense of, like, there's so many beautiful pieces of art that are being exhibited, but in so many ways we're preaching to the choir. I think everyone here really cares. And I think the people who see the art really care about the environment. We already are probably trying to do our little part in saving, recycling, or maybe not eating meat. But it's like, how do you get it outside of the preaching to the choir? This is, to me, since I've really been involved in working for the environment, it's just the big question that I've had. And I think that one of the reasons there were so many artists that were involved in the anti-fracking movement is because they recognize we have to do more. We cannot just talk to each other. We have to get out there. And so I just want to throw that out as something for everyone to think about. I'll say one thing that I remember doing is organizing a huge panel at Exit Art, which actually got publicity, media, the mainstream media to come. And that was really a big part of how we introduced New York City to fracking, actually. So it's like, what can we do to get for artists to get the word out, get people to do something.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. I actually have been concentrating on the election. I've been writing letters to people, getting out the vote. Here are my, here are my letters that I've mailed. We're mailing them all out on October 17th. If you go to Vote Forward, they'll give you a list of names and addresses, and you just sit down and write a letter and say why you're voting. It's just the vote. But then they also have a link that you can go to that says swing left to 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 do what I want to do anyway. So I guess we don't do any politicking or activism beyond our artwork on the listserv. But maybe there's a way that people could share some of the things they're doing. Maybe if somebody wanted to make a chain, you know, like a separate chain, separate from the listserv, which is only to serve our art. And we're pretty careful about keeping that clear that that's what it's for. But maybe somebody could make a chain of things we could do.
I just received in an email today information about an artist named Eliza Evans. Have you heard of her, Alice?
No,
So
I
she's
haven't.
an activist, an anti-fracking activist, and has an initiative that she calls All the Way to Hell. And she is seeking participants to join her for free, where each participant will become a part owner of some land in Oklahoma that everybody wanna, to make it, just to throw a monkey wrench in the works of trying to frack. It's an interesting concept. I think a lot of artists are also activists. Probably not enough, but I mean, it's really exciting and wonderful. And Teresa Vallis says Oklahoma. Yes, in Oklahoma. But I'll just write down her name in the chat so you can look it up if you want. Okay.
That's what Priscilla Stadler just wrote to all panelists, a dedicated activism listserv, that if somebody were thinking something to do, that would be,
and
I know that
Stadler herself is an activist, I know also. So is a good idea. Artivism, she says, not activism, artivism. I love that, Priscilla.
Artivism.
Okay.
I didn't see that.
Nicole is telling us we need to wrap up, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all very much. Thank you for sending this beautiful work and for sharing it with us and for your patience, because it's been a task. I am not an organized person. I'm not, this was hard for me. And I would like to say that it would not have happened without Fran Beeler.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be involved.
Sometimes it's easy to have a big idea, but then there's a mountain of work that comes to make the idea come true. And Fran did it with patience and cheerfulness and grace. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Barbara. Thanks to all the artists who are in this. Yes, around.
Thank you so much, really.
Thank you, everybody. And be on the lookout. Your work will be coming out in blogs.
Yes.
Blog posts, as soon as I figure it out.
Maybe we can have another conversation where we talk more about some of the issues.
Yeah, that would be great. Maybe we could.
That would be good.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Separate.
Maybe a mini, the artist circle has many mini circles.
Right.
Circles within circles, so we could work on that. Okay.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Barbara.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole.
Thank you,
definitely.
Nicole. I don't know if Nicole is on here. I see some church members, which I'm happy to see. Some people coming in.
Great.
There's Nicole.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
Now the church is going on to do something else, because this church is, there's always something going on.
That's right. We've got to get ready for our 7:30 event.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And
bye.
Are you going